what I'm saying, people, we need to wake up. It's the Constitution says we the people, and so we need to take our rights back. We need to take our homes back. We need to take everything back that they have taken from us. And people that you have been foreclosed on illegally, if you can go back and make the mortgage companies and the attorneys produce the affidavits, and if they have been forged or fraud, they would need to get busy here. I'm 70 years old, and if I'm not afraid to go after these people and bring them down for all the fraud and forge they have done. They have been doing this to me since 2009, and I have been trying to get into the North Carolina State Attorney General's office to prove my case since 2009. You know, the Attorney General's office is supposed to be there to protect the consumer from fraud, but that's not happening in North Carolina, and it's not happening in the courts. You go into the court down here, you can't even prove anything. They just do it on a little technicality, you know, because of a little bit of escrow, a little bit of this they added on there, and they add big fees. Aquin has a bad habit of putting on big fees that you don't owe, that you probably don't even know what they're for. But what I'm saying, I'm pleading with you, if you have been foreclosed on in North Carolina, and if they're trying to foreclose on you now, you ask the mortgage attorneys for their affidavits. This is Maggie Walker again, Post Office Box 10566, Raleigh, North Carolina, zip 27605. I do hereby charge Capel, Texas-based American Home Mortgage and Option 1, their collection agencies and attorneys who have used and currently using forgery and illegal fraudulently tactics to collect money in excess of what homeowners truly owe. American Home Mortgage agencies and attorneys have falsely claimed that homeowners do not make payments on time so they can justify excess fees for escrow accounts. American Home Mortgage and Option 1 have failed to properly credit all my payments which have been made on time. All of the above leads to their unlawful foreclosure on homeowners and such as myself, who have not defaulted. I have proof and documentation. These mortgage companies, their attorneys, notaries, and so-called vice presidents who are not and never have been vice presidents have been practicing in different states and still committing forgery and fraud. If you have been foreclosed on in the state of North Carolina, what you need to do, and if you're in litigation now, and if you're in court, going to court now, if they've got any foreclosure suits against you, you need to ask the mortgage company's attorneys for their affidavits so you can check them up against the RoboSigners. There are so many attorneys that commit fraud and forgery with RoboSigning, and RoboSigning is there's a place called DOCX. There's one in Georgia and one in Florida. They hire people to go in, and they pay them $10 an hour to sign. Linda Green, she was on 60 Minutes a few months ago. They found hundreds of documents where she had signed with different signatures. People just went in and they would pay $10 an hour just to sign her name. And this is fraud. I mean, the fraud has been widespread in North Carolina, and it needs to stop. When you go into North Carolina court, you should have everything, every avenue opened up to you to prove your case. Okay, when you go into court and you got forged affidavits and you got all this proof and you try to prove it, and she says, I can't do this, or she or he says, well, I'll handle this in this case. Well, what are you there for? It's for a hearing. This stuff needs to stop in North Carolina. The fraud and the forgery that's being passed on the Wake County and the North Carolina courts needs to stop, and it needs to stop now. It's we the people. We need to stand up for our rights. We need to stop letting these mortgage companies, these crooked attorneys, taking our homes and trying to take in our homes and disrupting our lives. We need to shut it down, and it's we the people. And if you think you have been foreclosed on illegally, you need to write to me any year, and that goes for the mortgage companies like Equity One, Popular Mortgage, Litton Loan, Aquin, American Home Mortgage, Option 1, let's see, MERS, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, MERS, all these mortgage companies, they're all wrapped around and tied into, a lot of them are into one sprout, because a lot of these, Wells Fargo is a parent company of some of them, American Home Mortgage is a parent company of some of them, and then also you've got MERS. MERS has never really been anything other than fraudulently company that produced fraudulently documentation, and the state of the state of I think it was Washington, they said that anybody can bring a lawsuit against them. If you find MERS on your documentation anywhere, you need to write me a letter, and we will go from there. And also you need to ask them where to produce the note, and also MERS is dead, can be sued for fraud, and that's Washington Supreme Court. Okay, we have Guilford County, North Carolina. Guilford County sues to clean up bank's mess at the Register of Deeds. Now, I took my little stuff down to the Register of Deeds down here in Wake County, and she said that there wasn't anything that they could do. And I asked her, I said, if I forged documentation, could I bring it down here and get it passed? She said, pretty much. You can do pretty much in Wake County. But what I'm saying, people, we need to wake up. It's the Constitution says we the people. And so we need to take our rights back. We need to take our homes back. We need to take everything back that they have taken from us. And people that you have been foreclosed on illegally, if you can go back and make the mortgage companies and the attorneys produce the affidavits, and if they have been forged or fraud. Shapiro and Brinson, a federal class action claim that thousands of Maryland homeowners lost their homes because of illegal RoboSigning operations of Shapiro and Brinson law firm with offices in Baltimore, Maryland, Fairfax, Virginia, and 6 of its attorneys. The suit also charges the firm charged excessive fees, and when you do excessive fees and they add that, tack it on to, they can foreclose on you. They try to with a technicality. Okay, that has opened up a criminal inquiry into the firm practicing, and has received statements from a former employee who says that he was told to sign thousands of affidavits without seeing any evidence of the statement in the affidavits was true. That's what's happened with me with my 5 affidavits. Okay, if we go to one of these affidavits here that signed on me, it's signed by Linda Bayless. We got Linda Bayless, and she is in the state of Florida, DeVol County, Jacksonville, Florida. Okay, and the vice president that signed on that is Gerald Hefferman, and Gerald Hefferman is suspected in Florida for notary for robo-signing. Okay, Gerald Hefferman, he has never been a vice president of anything. He's just Jacksonville, Florida area. He's just been financial services. His education, it tells about his education. You can go to LinkedIn and you can find out all this stuff about him, but he's never been a vice president. He is a notary. And right here is different signatures of Linda Bayless. She signs it one way. I have 4 different signatures of her here, and that's what you need to do, is you need to get your affidavits. If you're in court now, if you're in litigation now, you ask the mortgage company's attorneys for the affidavits, and you go online and you pull up their name, like Bank of America or American Home Mortgage. You put in American Home Mortgage fraud, and then you put in the notary's name, and if it's the attorneys Gerald Shapiro and Ingle, you put their names in and pull up fraud, and you can find out. Okay, this last they started foreclosure on me in January 4th of 2012, and this last affidavit, this has been going on for over a year now, about 14 months now. And this last affidavit I got, Gerald Hefferman. Okay, the first one that he was vice president. Well, he must have got demoted, because this one here says he's an assistant secretary. And Linda Bayless's signature is also different again. I have got 4 different signatures on Linda Bayless. And like I said, we need to get busy here. I'm 70 years old, and if I'm not afraid to go after these people and bring them down for all the fraud and forge they have done. They have been doing this to me since 2009, and I have been trying to get into the North Carolina State Attorney General's office to prove my case since 2009, and I have not had any experience, any lead, nothing. They won't hear it. They shut down. And also the Commissioner of Banks. They have got letters from American Home Mortgage. Fraud, they lied, they forged, fraud, everything, and I tried to get in to prove it, and they wouldn't hear me. So all you North Carolinians out here, if you've had any experience with the North Carolina Attorney General's office, if you have tried to get in to see them to prove your case, to prove that you've been forged and fraud on, and they would not have anything to do with you, please write me. I need to know. We need to start a class action lawsuit on all these attorneys and all these mortgage companies and the attorney generals that won't listen. But you know, the other attorney generals in the other states, they go after these people. Even the governors go after these people. I have documentation upon documentation. But if you write me and let me know what you need or anything, and just give me send me a letter and let me know. And there's just so much, you know, and it's all already in all the papers from all states. Texas Attorney General has gone after them. The governor and Attorney General in California. There's so many of them that has stepped up to the plate. You know, the Attorney General's office is supposed to be there to protect the consumer from fraud, but that's not happening in North Carolina, and it's not happening in the courts. You go into the court down here, you can't even prove anything. They just do it on a little technicality, you know, because of a little bit of escrow, a little bit of this they added on there, and they add big fees. Ocwen has a bad habit of putting on big fees that you don't owe, that you probably don't even know what they're for, and like all these other fees that they add on there, and they get you in court, and then they try to foreclose on you, and they have foreclosed on people with these little technicalities. But the point is what I'm trying to make. When you go into a court of law, you should have everything at your disposal. Everything should be heard from A to Z on your case. If you have forged documents, they should be part of the evidence. But anyway, what I'm trying to say, we need to come together in North Carolina, and we need to try to clean this mess up. And my hat's off for Guilford County. They have stepped forward. Wake County needs to do the same, and they need to do this. But what I'm saying, I'm pleading with you, if you have been foreclosed on in North Carolina, and if they're trying to foreclose on you now, you ask the mortgage attorneys for their affidavits, and you check them against RoboSigning. You can go on to this place right here and pull up information, and you can go off this right here. This there's so many places that you can go to. Oh, and there's one here called the Fraud Digest. The Fraud Digest, you can go on that, pull that up. It's news update, bank fraud digest, and it tells you about Wells Fargo, American Home Mortgage have relied on fraudulent mortgage assignments in its foreclosure evictions. And all these people, if you see Kathy Smith in DeVille County, Florida, and then she says she's an assistant secretary in another state. And it's just the biggest fraud. It's just a shame to even let anybody know that you even have tried to buy a home in the United States. And I'm talking about to all the people in the United States. If you're being foreclosed on in any state, you ask the mortgage company's attorneys for the affidavits, and you check to see if there has been any robo signing.